When she died in 1997, adoration for Princess Diana transmuted into something like worship. Surely it was no accident that in 1981 this people's princess got married on the very same spot where the Romans had erected their temple to Diana. We can trace the idea of a Temple of Diana in London back to William Stokely, physician, clergyman, antiquarian, Freemason and archdruid. Stokely was possessed of a singular imagination. In 1722 he draws a map of Roman London, and on the site of St Paul's, Ludgate Hill, the tallest point in the old city, he puts the Grove and Temple of Diana. Now, John Clark of the Museum of London has traced the sources of this idea back through the antiquaries of London, John Strype, William Camden, all the way to John Fleet, writing the history of Westminster Abbey in 1443. He laments the persecution of Christians under Diocletian, when belief in the old abominations returned everywhere. London sacrificed to Diana, and suburban Thorney made offerings to Apollo. But this is a rhetorical flourish based on legend, not evidence. There's also a tantalising reference to something called Diana's Chamber in the records of St Paul's from 1222. Sadly, this is nothing to do with any temple of Diana, but a reference to a residence for the canons of St Paul's that stood here on Knightrider Street. There's no link with the goddess Diana. Someone else fascinated by the legend was Christopher Wren. While digging trial pits for the foundation of the new St Paul's, he dug deeper and deeper to try to find the temple of Diana, but found nothing except sand mixed with periwinkles and other seashells. Proof not of pagan worship, but of a London that was once beneath the sea. There's another thing Wren looked for but couldn't find. William Camden, in his 1586 book Britannia, mentions that in the 13th century hundreds of ox bones were dug up in the churchyard. This seems to be the only evidence for pagan ritual on the site of St Paul's, but whether these oxen were sacrificed in prehistoric, Roman or even Saxon times, when the pagan East Saxons drove the bishop out of St Paul's for a time, we cannot tell. Sadly, despite his best efforts, Wren found no ox heads. It's tantalising because it's not impossible. Under Southwark Cathedral, down a Roman well, was a sculpture of a hunter god with bow, quiver, stag and dog. We may still find a Temple of Diana under St Paul's, but until then we have to create our own goddesses to worship.
That is a fabulous dress. And the veil being held there in place by the Queen's halo tiara.